Yeah, very big welcome to you, my dear Pisces. The sun here in Osho Zen is the innocence, is now in Aquarius, and Aquarius is the silence. The sun is giving the light to the moon, which is here the past lives, which is in your sign, which is the moon. So here you are, right, with the moon. You are facing that moment where you're recognizing now through the sun, you are coming into the silence of being finally there where you need to be. In the silence, that's where we witness the past life situations, right? So in a way, it's like the 17, the 18, and the 19 would be here because we're going to the left. We're going to your new moon. In the next reading, that's when you are going to have the information to know that your innocence and also the knowing of your past lives comes into an arrival, comes into a knowing. And in that knowing, you recognize, of course, the inner knowing that the moon is going every 2.5 to 3 days in another sign, and that's why I'm using the moon in your sign for the reading, not because you have it maybe in your chart. If you do, then great, but that's not a prerequisite for this reading, right? It's kind of like, you know, that I'm using the moon as a subconscious to give me the information for you. Now, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is the Fool, is that I am letting myself fall into the unknown, into the within. And so when you know that someone goes to the left and becomes the card, then that's actually going to the right. You are ruled by Neptune, and Neptune in Osho Zen is the new vision. And in that new vision, I hope you see in your dreams and in your mind that you can achieve a new awareness of who you want to become. The yoga position for Aquarius, here side plank, we stretch ourselves up into the air. It's an air sign, but also an arm and a leg is down on the earth. And we have you, fish pose, upward dog, downward dog, for your card as a position. You are the Knight of Cups here in Osho Zen Tarot. That's the trust that you have to let yourself fall into this pink cloud. Is your birthday between February 8th and March 11th? Then this is your court card. You are, as a Pisces, connected with the dreamer deep within you through Neptune. And you are the 12th zodiac sign, and so connected to the 12th house of spirituality and art. Back to the last reading where we had Capricorn Sun giving Pisces Moon the light. Live the liberation you want to see in this world. And I checked if there's a reoccurring card, and there are 2 of them, and so we can begin the reading. The Knight of Cups is getting the sharing, and the sharing, that's the Queen of Wands, and that's Aries. Aries comes after you, right? After the moon has been in your sign for 2.5, 3 days, it's going into the sign of Aries. And so Aries is already talking. Aries is saying yes. Trust that you have here the love that you can drop into a new adventure with an Aries, with someone that has the fire element. And so the 12 and the 1 is the 13. There is a transformation that comes to you through an Aries. What is Aries saying? Aries bringing you the 8 of Pentacles. And the 8 of Pentacles is Sun in Virgo. And the Sun in Virgo is bringing you understand that you are working on coming together with this Aries who is sharing everything with you. Now, here, the work that we do, become a master in the way you work. And so the 1 and the 8 is a 9. The 9 is the completion. The 9 and the 3 of the 12, right, is again a 12. So through this work, you will fly and trust your instinct even more. What is the Mother Peace Tarot saying? The Daughter of Wands is coming. And the Daughter of Wands is a young Aries here. And it's facing here the left. She's running to the left with these animals. And she's kind of in a warrior 1 position. And that's a young Aries. That's the young generation. Aries, but also a Leo and Sagittarius. But of course Aries is here, so there is a young Aries with whom you're working on whatever it is you're working on, right? You know what you're working on with this Aries, right? You're working on either a financial situation or on the material plane, and you want to create something special here because you are the knight and she's a queen. That's work. To put a knight and a queen together, it's always a little tough, right? Because the knight is action oriented and the queen is more like, well, I'm a queen, I'm sitting on a throne. What are you going to do? So then we have a 3-3 portal here with the 3 fire zodiac signs. And here we have a 9. And the 33 is the mastery. Find the mastery to actually work here with an Aries and learn from it. What is Neptune wanting to tell you? The new vision is bringing you here from the Caroline Myss deck, the archetype, and you do not get an archetype. You can fill in your own archetype. Now, there are a lot of archetypes, right, in her deck. This is the little booklet to it, the archetype cards. So you have the hedonist, the hermit, the guide, the healer, the goddess, the gossip, the gambler, the god, the femme fatale, the fool, etc. You have a lot. But when there is an empty card coming up, you can put the archetype in there that you want to release, particularly the shadow side of it, because the Hanged Man is the one that is hanging upside down. And so the 12 also becomes a 3. Now, what is coming here from your deck? The isolation, the 3 of Swords. And now it makes sense. You have to feel into this isolation. The 3 of Swords is Saturn in Libra. And Saturn in Libra is that moment where you learn something. And so this is again a 3-3 portal here. And you know that you maybe want to let go of being isolated in this frozen heart of yours, and seeing that maybe you gotta awaken out of thinking that there is a plot, that there is something negative happening, and that you have no power over it. So observe what kind of archetype is coming up here in this triangle, in this love triangle. That's what usually the 3 of Swords is, right? Is thinking that there's another person that is affecting your relationship, but it's never another person. It's always you who maybe didn't really want to be in this relationship, and so the other is actually taking that advantage. Now, what is coming from the Mother Peace Tarot? You get again the Priestess of Wands to the right. And that's again an Aries. So an Aries definitely is here with whom you are learning to work on something. You're working on something that can heal the heart. So the 3 and the 1 is the 4. Then what is Aries saying? And you see Aries is here with the lion, and she's powerful and she's strong. And here she's a little different. She's a priestess. And a priestess, right, knows what's going on here with the archetype. And so maybe you need to work with the archetype of that strong female personality. But what is she saying? What is she bringing? She brings the high priestess. And the high priestess came last time as well. So the high priestess is your intuition. What is your intuition telling you? So here you have the 3 and the 1 is a 4, the 4 and the 2 is a 6. Self-love. She brings self-love, strong self-love, because then this doesn't happen. Okay? Now what is the high priestess saying? She brings the Ace of Wands. And the Ace of Wands is what Aries has in her hands, or his hands, right? That's the action. That's the wand. That's the masculine aspect of creating. That's one part of the high priestess. So there's a 1-1 portal plus the 1 of the sharing. 3 times the 1. And 3 times the 1 is letting you know you're learning something. And the 3 swords. So there is something going on. Learn to see that you have to work it out with this Aries, right? You have to learn that Aries is saying, find your intuition, find deep within something that makes sense, that you have the wand, that you have that creative spark, and in there maybe you find then that you can overcome the 3 of Swords, because the 3 of Swords is in your mind. This is action. Take one action and be proud of that action and see that your intuition brings you the right action. And so altogether we have here the 3 and the 1, the 4, the 6 and the 7. Have the emotional intelligence to know that in the 7 you know exactly what you're doing, you know exactly what's coming, because the 7 and the 3 is the 10. A new cycle will begin after the next reading when you have Sun and New Moon both in your sign. You don't have another person up there, right? You don't have Aquarius pushing now the buttons. Now, what is the moon saying? The moon is bringing going with the flow, and that's the Ace of Cups, which came last time as well. So you have the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Cups. Now that's exactly what the High Priestess is. She is deciding constantly between the masculine and the feminine. She is constantly the one that sees that we have duality, and in that duality we have here 2 hands, and out of that comes the next life. That's the portal, that's the vagina, and she is the vagina, she is the feminine aspect. And so going with the flow, right, noticing that things come in a way, but also don't block yourself. Don't be the one that holds on to emotions that are done. Saturn is the world, so sometimes the whole world feels that isolation. And so here you see that the moon, the 18, and the 1 is the 19, and the 19 is the sun, is the innocence. Stay innocent in the love that you have always, and in the action or the creative spark that you have always. What is coming from Aquarius? You get Temperance, reverse. And Temperance is, of course, Sagittarius, but it came reversed. So something is not in balance. Something is off. And it's a beautiful card because one dove is flying off while the other one is landing. And it's really interesting because the right hand is usually the active hand and the dove is landing. The left hand is usually the passive and the dove is flying away. So notice that you have to learn something, because the 14 and the 1 is the 15. Don't be attached to nothing, right? That's what Capricorn brings. And Capricorn brought you live the liberation you want to see in this world. So maybe here there's a world pain that makes you feel isolated from the world, but you gotta understand that deep within in your subconscious, you're learning now to detach yourself and to come into a liberation, into a freedom. And of course, I want to see what is Sagittarius bringing. And Sagittarius is bringing you Sagittarius again, upright. Sagittarius here brings the blending. So reverse and upright. So it's neutral. It's not negative. It's not positive. It's neutral. A cycle has closed with the love that you have deep within. And so learn to see that this love is coming deep from your subconscious because you are connected with the cup. The Ace of Cup is your cup. And so 1414 portal or 55 portal, right? And here the 18 plus the 1 is the 19, the 10. The 10 with the 55 could be a 20, right? But we leave the 55. And the 20 is Pluto. Pluto, who has moved for 20 years into Aquarius now. And that's the 20 that you got here. So you see that there is a really strong message from Sagittarius, right? What is the Mother Peace Tarot bringing? The Five of Wands to the right. And the Five of Wands is Saturn in Leo. So you had Saturn in Libra, and now you have Saturn in Leo. And you understand clearly that this quarrel, this fighting, is also a 5, right? Then you have 3 times the 5. But it's pointing to going with the flow. This quarrel will stop when you active go with the flow, when you notice that everything has its moment, everything is here to bring you the understanding of what is important. And the equilibrium is important because that's what temperance is bringing you. Even though it's reverse, and now we can maybe see that the archetype is temperance, right? Being in the middle. And you can define that for yourself because this card came upside down. And so you're learning here that there is a 5-5 and the 10 stays with here the 19, right? And the 10 is here. But I want to see what is also bringing the moon because I have a specific deck for the moon. So this temperance comes from Aquarius, right? The light that is coming through Aquarius. Now you get the Moon Maiden, a new beginning. And in that new beginning, you see here again the 14, but it's the 41, but it's just reversed. Look at that. So you have a 14, 14, 41. That's a 5, 5, 5, 5 portal. 4 times the 5, the heart. Find in your heart the understanding of things need to go off so that we can come into the flow. And so you understand really clearly that now the Moon Maiden is you. You are connected with the moon and you can actually clear what has bothered you, right? In the way that you have, of course, here the isolation, in the way you have here the reverse, in the way you have understood that something is talking here very clearly through an Aries to you. Something needs to be cleared. Something needs to be understood. And so here you understand the 10 is still there. And then again a 5, 5, 5, 5, right? So you have the heart. In your heart, find the balance. You have 4 times the 5 and the 10, and that's a new beginning. Begin new, begin to see that everything has its moment, and now the moment is ripe because the moon is in your sign. That's the moment to look deeper and to know how you can begin completely new and accept that certain situations come to teach us something, right? That the goddesses are testing a goddess, right? Testing you and testing your trust in the love that you have and in the flow that you have deep within yourself. Wow. I hope I see you in the next reading. That's when you get the new moon, sun and new moon, both in your sign. You can plant a seed there, a really important seed. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.